I am just so happy. This is the same doctor's office, the same OB that I would see for all of my miscarriages. And so everybody was saying congratulations. The women at the front desk, the nurses, my OB, everybody's just so happy for me. And it was just, I was all warm and tingly while I was in there. And they scheduled more blood work, which I'm going to go get now. They gave me the information to schedule the ultrasound, and just told me like all the information about like how your bladder should be full and like blah, blah. And it all feels so surreal to actually be doing this. Like, God is so good and so faithful, and I am so happy. I just have to pop in here really quick. I am 5 weeks, 6 days today. And so it's been a minute since I've last talked to you. And I'm just here to tell you that I can't stop crying. This has been so much. I'm having a great time, you guys. This has been so fun. I'm really enjoying this pregnancy so much. Yes, there's been things about it that have been difficult, but for the most part, I'm really enjoying it. And the crying is cracking me up because everything makes me cry. And I figured that this was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen so soon, so early. I will be watching something on TV. I'll be watching reels on Instagram. Last night, I watched a reel about a woman who came back home after she had the fire in California, and everything around her had burned down, but her sheep were still alive. And I cried like they were my sheep. Like, I cried so hard. And this morning, I was saying my prayers, just crying. I just watched somebody's birth story on Instagram. I was just crying. Is it going to be like this the whole time? I love it so much. I'm having a great time. Me and Ben are out on a walk because, I'm pregnant and trying to stay active. It's really hard to do when you live in New York. And it's disgusting out. The wind is blowing and it's so cold, and today's a nice day. That's why we're out here. It's like 38 degrees today. That's warm. So I was like, let's go for a walk, because I really should be keeping my body moving. We're having a great time. Hello. Today I am 9 weeks, 4 days. And I cannot believe that I'm just a few days away from being double digits in weeks. I feel like I'm still wrapping my mind around the fact that I'm even pregnant, let alone in the latter half of the first trimester here. Yeah. I'm still super emotional, crying all the time. Here's a clip that I actually just took this morning. Google Pixel commercial. It gets me every time. I'm always so good until the dog. When they're hugging the dog because they're going to put it down, and then I just cry the rest of the time. I'm just eating my breakfast, minding my own business. This is like my favorite part of pregnancy. It's just so ridiculous. Okay. These commercials, man, I'll tell you what, they get me. I don't know what it is, but they get me every time. And I always I'm crying and I'm laughing because I'm like, what is this? Like, this is crazy. That's really fun. So I'm just going to give you a couple of updates. So first of all, one of the things that has changed is my face. My acne is in full force and is so much fun. Normally, if you were to just look here, I have pretty clear skin. My skin's always been really nice, and it wasn't until I started getting pregnant, had my miscarriages, that literally since my very first pregnancy in 2023, my face has never been the same. It's been messed up since then. It's never recovered.
And so all throughout high school, my face was really nice and clear. I never had acne. It wasn't until that first pregnancy that I started getting acne. I hate that my face looks like this, but it does. And I don't know when it's ever gonna go away. I've tried so many different products and different things to try and clear it up. The only other thing that I could do that I always have people suggest, and people are gonna suggest it on this video, is to make diet changes. I've had people tell me to cut out dairy. I've had people to tell me to cut out sugar, and I will say that actually when I cut out sugar, it does get a lot better. But I can't cut sugar completely out of my diet. Like, I bake and cook from scratch. No. And I'm not cutting out dairy. So I'm not willing to make the necessary diet changes to see if I can track this down. And this is it. Like, if it was also me having gastrointestinal issues, or if it was some sort of like really like, if it was hindering my quality of life, then yeah, we will hunt that down. But it's just my face. I'm not trading this for dairy. I'm not doing it. So anyway, just wanted to give you that. Okay, next up, we are going to talk about my back. So if you are new here, I work for my church part-time. They have a community garden, and I work for it exclusively. That's the only thing I do for my church, is work on that garden. And so it's been the winter time, so we had our first work night the other night. I sent out a notification to some of the people who have agreed to volunteer their time for the garden, and I said, hey, we've got some tasks that need to be accomplished, come at this time on this day. And so we had a pretty decent turnout of people who came to help, but it's a lot of work, and it needs to be managed and led, and everybody needs to be kind of guided on what to do and whatnot. And then I usually get right in there with them, and whatever tasks we're doing, I do it with them, because I'm a gardener and I like to garden. And so this was a big seed starting night. We were getting the seed starting set up, put together, and then we were starting our first batch of seeds. But the problem is I totally overdid it. Like, I majorly overdid it. And I'm not even 10 weeks pregnant yet. Like, I did not realize that I was fragile. I don't know, like, I was a server for 10 years. So anytime I think of a working pregnant woman, I just picture some of my coworkers from my past who were bebopping around, waiting tables right up until they popped their kids out. Mind you, that was like 5-6 years ago, so we were all younger, but that's always what I picture when I think of like working women, working pregnant women. So I really genuinely, truly did not think that this pregnancy was going to slow me down. I really didn't. Isn't that funny? Isn't that so naive? I genuinely didn't think this pregnancy was going to slow me down. So we do this work night. This was like, what is today? This was like two days ago. And by the end, so it didn't get done until 7 p.m. Started at like 3 o'clock and it didn't get done until 7. And by the time I was home and getting ready for bed, I almost couldn't walk. And I'm not exaggerating. I legitimately almost couldn't walk. It took me 3 tries to get up off of the couch. And Tom was like, oh, wait, like, do you actually need help right now? And I was like, I don't know. I couldn't get up. And it was because of sciatic pain. Good old sciatic pain. I have had a sciatic attack, flare-up, I don't know what you would call it, or 2 in my day, non-pregnant, just in regular life. And they suck. They don't usually last very long. I always tell my massage therapist about them, and she'll give my lower back a little bit of extra attention, but it's not usually a very big deal. And it like literally didn't even cross my mind that this would happen in pregnancy. But I'll tell you what, it really scared me because my right leg kept buckling. Like, I literally couldn't put any weight on my right leg. Sciatic pain. That's what I'm bringing you in this first trimester update. Sciatic pain. This video is going to keep going until I'm out of my first trimester, so I've just been randomly taking clips. I have no idea how long it is, but I'm having a lot of fun documenting it, I'll tell you that. I am 10 weeks, 4 days today, and I am having a real hard time. Had to throw this into the first trimester vlog. I came home early from work today. Whew, yesterday, I started feeling icky yesterday, and then today, it just like really hit me, but I still don't think I'm sick. Like, I think it's pregnancy related. I am just so nauseous, which I know I can't complain about being nauseous with me not throwing up. I get it, but still being nauseous sucks. And, it's just that feeling like all the time, you know? And then I'm so tired, but when I lay down to sleep, like I'm not falling asleep, but when I was at work, I was hardly keeping my eyes open. But my main complaint is this like feeling that I'm gonna pass out. Like I will, all of a sudden, it'll feel like somebody's got their hands over my ears and I'll just feel really off balance all of a sudden, like my equilibrium's all shot. And I just have to like breathe through it. And then of course, while that's happening, I feel super sick, like nauseous. And I just have to like sit down and wait for it to pass. And that was happening a lot while I was at work. And it's happened since I've gotten home too. And I'm just like, so yeah, not feeling the best right now. But I'm almost out of the first trimester. So I'm really just trying to hang in there. I think I've still been blessed with a really easy first trimester. And I'm just trying to hang in there. I'm really trying. The other thing is I am craving. It's so funny because when you're nauseous, usually you're sick. And when you're sick, usually you don't have an appetite. That is not the case. I feel like I'm going to throw up all day and all I can think about is eating. But it's funny too because I don't want like anything. So when I get up to actually go eat, because, you know, I do have to do that throughout the day, like nothing sounds good. Everything turns me off. I'm just like, ugh, no thank you. But I'm hungry. Like my stomach is growling. And so that's where the cravings come in. And I think that's why women say in your first trimester, just eat what you can, because it's just so hard to eat. That it's like, yeah, if you're craving french fries, then eat french fries, you know, whatever you can get down and keep down, do that. And so luckily I have a great appetite in the morning. I can eat my breakfast and be normal. So that's when I take my supplements. I get a really good big breakfast in, and that really helps me throughout the day. And then from there, it just goes to crap. Usually by about 3 o'clock, I'm like not doing great, not wanting to eat. But I bring all of this up to say I am craving sushi so hard. So hard. I've never wanted anything in my life as bad as I want sushi. And there was a whole post about this in one of the groups that I'm in on Facebook. And, they were talking about how you can still get cooked sushi. And we have a store called Wegmans, and it's like a Kroger or Tops, except way better. Wegmans is awesome. And they do sushi. And I've eaten lots of Wegmans sushi in my day. And they have cooked options. But I just feel so crappy today that like I could go to the store and just get it. But also I don't really want to do that. So I think I'm just going to lay here and dream about sushi. Maybe tomorrow I'll go get some. I am growing a baby, and that is gonna suck sometimes. I am so glad. What are you guys doing? These animals. What's going on? Okay, that's all I got. I just watched a reel about dogs. And I just love my dog so much. And I just want him to live forever. These hormones are crazy. I love you. Benny.
you so much. Come get on the couch. You deserve it. Come on. You're so cute. I love you. Nothing in this pregnancy makes me cry as much as Jesus does. Oh my gosh. Like, literally, I'll just be thinking about, like, how he died for us, and we'll just start crying. I think it's because I just, like, feel so blessed to be carrying a child. And then I'll remember that, like, it's just a bonus. Because, like, I'm already so blessed to be saved. And I don't know why, but, like, the hormones, like, I know all of this, but the hormones just make it, like, I don't even know how to say it. It, like overwhelms me. And it's, like, a ridiculous thing for me to be putting in this video, but I want to remember it because it's like being pregnant makes you so irrational, and that's, like, can be a downside because sometimes I'll be, like, really mad at Tom for no reason, or, like, really mad at Benny for no reason. But it also makes you feel the other stuff so big too, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that. And I'm just so grateful to be a child of God. I'm 11 weeks, 5 days today, and I had just a routine OB appointment, one of those that you have once a month. You're there for 15 minutes. They're just like, you good? You're like, yep, thanks. One of those. But this was my first one of those, and they were like, okay, hop up on the table, let's have a listen. And it was my actual OB who did this appointment. It won't always be him, but it was today. And he said, listen, you know, if we don't find it, don't get concerned. You're still really early. We don't always find it. I said, okay, that's fine. I understand. He found it almost immediately, and it was so strong. And I was like, that sounds really strong, right? And he was like, yeah. He said, and it's in the 160s, totally normal heartbeat. And I was like, okay, but I got to hear it. And he was really nice. You can never record anything in these appointments, but he let me record that. So I will go ahead and put that here for you to listen. That sounds really strong, right?
Okay, in the 160, so nice and normal. So.
Oh my gosh, isn't that so exciting? I was so happy. I had the biggest smile on my face. Oh my gosh, Tom was not there. That's why he let me record it. So I've already played it for Tom, like way before you're seeing this. And yeah, I'm just so happy because you go all this time, right? Like, it's been weeks and weeks in between my first ultrasound to confirm the pregnancy and now this ultrasound that we're doing on Monday. And so you just hope that everything's okay. The only thing that's kept me from worrying is that I still feel very pregnant, like I'm having all the symptoms. And so to me, no pain, no bleeding. So I'm like, everything must be fine. So I'm not worried or anything, but it's still really nice to, like, get that confirmation, that validation that, like, everything is fine. And I can't wait for the appointment on Monday. I just really want to know that that baby's developing properly, which the heartbeat helped me feel reassured with that, like they're growing and everything. And then also that all the organs are accounted for, because I am in a lot of Facebook groups now, and particularly groups for my due date. And it's sad because these other women who are just a little bit ahead of me are already getting these ultrasounds, and they're posting things like, went to my ultrasound, baby's brain isn't developing, baby's kidneys aren't developing, you know, and it's just so sad. And so I just want to make sure that everything is developing properly and all the organs are present and accounted for. And I hope that that's the case. I pray that that's the case, and we'll feel a lot better once I see that and have that confirmation. But hearing the heartbeat today was really, really nice.
Okay, we are going to round out this first trimester vlog with our 12-week ultrasound. So we are at the hospital right now, and I'm 12 weeks, 1 day. And so this is the end of the first trimester ultrasound. It had a name. I'm trying to remember what the paper said, but we haven't seen the baby since, what was I, like 7 weeks, I think, when I came that last time?
I think it was 8, maybe.
Somewhere around there. It's been like a month. And so we're both really excited, obviously, to just see baby. And then also, I was telling Tom earlier, I'm a little nervous too, because I just want to make sure that like they've been growing properly and developing properly. And then also at this point now, baby has all of its organs. So I just want to make sure that like everything is there and they're not missing anything. Yeah, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm also just really excited, like I said, to see baby. This is also the day where they do the NIPT, NIPT blood work to check for any chromosomal abnormalities, and then also for the gender. So we won't find out the gender today, I don't think, but we'll get that blood work back soon, and then we're doing a gender reveal 2 Sundays from now with just our close family, and that'll be fun. So you ready to go see our baby?
Yeah.
Me too.
Hi, so it is the next day. That appointment did not go as planned. And of course, that's always kind of the fear, right? And I think I did say before we went in that I was excited, but I was nervous because baby was just a blob the last time we saw them, and now they look like a baby. So this is when you start to get into finding out if things are wrong, you know, what's going on. So this was the NT first trimester screening ultrasound. I don't think everybody does that ultrasound. It goes, it pairs with the NIPT testing, the NIPT blood testing. Those go together. They don't usually just take one or the other. They do them both. So if you opt out of the NIPT testing, I don't think you get that ultrasound. I think you wait till a 20-week ultrasound, I think. And so we had it done, and we were going to be doing the NIPT blood work the same day. NT stands for nuchal translucency. This is a pocket of fluid on the back of baby's neck, and they measure it, and the measurement can indicate some things. Chromosomal abnormalities, and also cardiac defects. So things like Down syndrome, and there's so many. I can't even, so there are different, it's not just Down syndrome. There's Turner syndrome. I'm trying to think. There's so many different kinds. And then the cardiac problems are a different thing. But this pocket of fluid, if it's thicker than normal, can be an indicator of the one or multiple of these things. And our baby's was thicker. 3.5 millimeters and below is normal. Ours was 4.5 millimeters. And so because of that, we then got pulled into a meeting with a doctor where we had a scary conversation. And it's just always, it sucks, you know. I've been through this already with my hip. I had osteomyelitis when I was 18 and 19 years old, and they originally thought it was bone cancer. So these doctors, and it's not their fault, it's just the way of it. But their tone, you know, the tone of voice, like when they're having to share bad news. And as soon as she opened her mouth, I was like, oh. I also knew something was wrong even before we got in that meeting, because the ultrasound tech, after I was done and already had like put my pants back on, came back in and said, I need to take more pictures. That's a red flag. So anyway, we got into that meeting, and she's telling us about what I've already shared with you about what they're looking for and what ours was. And then she was telling us how it could mean, you know, the things that I tried to just list for you. She said that they were looking for something in the brain. That's why the tech had to take more pictures. And I cannot for the life of me remember what she called it. But she said that if that was in the brain, maybe some kind of cyst or something, I don't remember. If that was in the brain, then it would be like pretty for sure that our baby would have something. And that was not there. Our baby did not have that. So that's promising. But then she just said, you know, she was very sensitive. She was a very sensitive lady, and I appreciate it. She did not come out and say, would you terminate? Because I have posted in my group and I've had people say, yeah, they mentioned termination like 15 times. It was really annoying. She didn't at all. She kind of beat around the bush. So it took me a second to realize what she was really asking me. But basically what she wanted to know was, would you terminate or wouldn't you? Because the answer to that question would determine how aggressive we are in finding answers. Because there's something called CVS, and I don't remember what that stands for, but it's basically where they go in and they take a little chunk out of your placenta and they test that. That's not the best one to do because your DNA can skew the results. Or they do amniocentesis, which is the big needle right in through the belly to pull out DNA from directly inside the amniotic fluid, I guess. And she said that that one's more exact, and that would give us answers more directly. She put her hand on the paperwork for the NIPT blood work, and she said at this point, many people wouldn't even bother with this, and they would just go straight into testing. And then that's when it like clicked for me what she was really asking. And I said, oh, no. I said, I don't want to rush. I don't want to start doing procedures. I said, we're not terminating under any circumstances. It does not matter what it doesn't matter. It could be any of the things. We're not terminating. So I said, I don't feel the need to be particularly aggressive in finding out exactly what's going on. I said, let's just do the standard NIPT blood work because that's going to tell us if we're high risk or low risk for different conditions depending on what's found in my blood. And that'll shed some light. And then she said from now on for the rest of the pregnancy, I'm going to get an ultrasound every 4 weeks. So I'm going back in 4 weeks for another ultrasound. She did say, and it was funny to me, she said, this could be a transient finding. She kept saying it. She kept using that word, which I thought was an interesting way to put it. But she kept saying, like, it could be nothing. Like, it could be that your baby just has more fluid and it doesn't actually mean anything. We have seen babies have extra fluid and then be born totally normal and there's nothing wrong. She said, but it could be something so extreme that it's fatal and the baby has no chance of living. Like it's just such a wide range of possibilities that there has to be additional testing. So that's what we're doing. We have to wait 7 to 10 days for the NIPT results to come back. And that will tell us kind of where to go from there. Like if I'm high risk, if the baby is high risk or low risk for any of those conditions. But it's just so interesting because you tell a Christian that there's hope. I was already looking for the hope when I thought there was none. Like when she first started talking, and again, I think they really do try and like make you understand how serious it could be. So I get it, and I'm not faulting the way she handled it. I thought she was very gentle and sensitive. But she was making it seem like baby was like doomed. And so as soon as she said it could be nothing, I was like, girlfriend, that's all I needed to hear. Like, I serve a mighty God, you know? And so I left out of there feeling very encouraged, but still a little shaken. Since then, you know, having time to process and sitting at home last night with Tom, and then last night and this morning, I've cried a lot. I've prayed a lot. I can't get through a prayer without crying. It's actually really difficult for me to talk about it out loud. I think the only reason I'm getting through it with you right now is because there's nobody here and I'm talking to a camera. But every time I try to talk about this out loud, I just start crying. So I will say that I may sound tough, but I am still actually really struggling with it. And I think it's because it's just, first of all, the hormones. I cry watching dog commercials, so it's not like it's that much of a stretch for me to cry about this. I cry all the time, if you couldn't tell from this vlog. So I'm not being too hard on myself. God gave us our emotions, and I think He allows us to feel them and experience them without shame, as long as we hold tight to and stand firm on the foundational truths that we've been given. And that is that God knows this child. He is knitting them together in my womb. He does not make mistakes. And so nothing about this situation is a surprise or a mystery to Him. Again, He knows us in the secret place. Before anybody else knows us, He knows us. He already knows this child. He's aware of every atom in their body, every fiber of their being. He's knit together. There is nothing about this that is a mystery to Him. And He is good. His plans for us are good. And so I trust him. And I'm so thankful. I started crying this morning when I was praying about this. I said, you know, God and I have spent so much time and energy building up my spiritual foundation and helping me mature spiritually. I think you could even see glimpses of that from my YouTube channel if you've been with me for the past at least a year. And it's for moments like this. This is it. This is what it means to be a Christian. This is hope versus despair. You know, even if it's the absolute worst case scenario, this soul is eternal. The soul of the child inside of me is eternal. It is not lost to me, and it is not lost to God. God doesn't make mistakes. Nothing about this is a mistake. And these are foundational truths that I can hold on to in the midst of the darkest moments. When I am feeling overcome with despair and when the what ifs are so loud in my mind, I can hang on to that. That can be a light for me, a peace and a comfort for me. And so, you know, I cry. Yeah, I've cried like 16 times since yesterday afternoon. But I know what I know, you know, and it's going to get me through it. God's going to get me through it. And, you know, Tom was there. Thank God. I would not have wanted to endure any of that without him. And this is, you know, this is life. This is marriage. We are leaning on each other and we're getting through it together. And we're texting each other like, hey, how you doing? You hanging in there? And we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. But of course, I'm going to include it in the vlog because how couldn't I? This is pivotal to our story and the story of this child. And so I'm going to keep you posted. I am announcing it later now. I had actually planned on, this blood work comes back in 7 to 10 days. It's also going to tell us the gender. We were going to reveal the gender to our family, and then we were going to announce this on YouTube and probably on our Facebook too. And so that's coming up, and I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, how we're going to handle that, when we're going to share with you, and what sharing with you is going to look like now. You know, it's scary. Even with everything that I just shared with you, all of that positivity that I just shared with you, it doesn't, it's scary. And I think that's okay. I don't feel any shame in saying that. And I don't think God intends me to, because I can live and feel and accept how scary it is and still trust God at the same time. Those two things can happen together. And I think that's been so pivotal for me in my spiritual journey. You know, if you have moments of, I'm going to say doubt, but even if it's not doubt, even if it's just pain or fear or, you know, whatever other number of emotions that we, you know, have attached, that we think of as being bad emotions, God gave them to us, and I think we're allowed to feel them. And so I'm not going to feel any shame or condemn myself because I'm feeling those things. And so, yeah, sometimes I get hit with just like pangs of fear and despair and sadness. But I just remind myself those foundational truths and I move on. And all we can do is wait and pray at the moment. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's in God's plan for us and for this child. Okay, so it's supposed to ask me, no, don't include. Do you want to learn the sex? No, don't include sex. So it shouldn't be there. Okay, so I've looked at tons of these because people post them in the group all the time. So first of all, can I not make this bigger? Oh, download. There we go. So this is really good right off the bat. Low risk, RHD positive, which we already know. Low risk. Tom, look. It's low risk across the board. This is Down syndrome. This is Edwards syndrome. That's Turner syndrome. That's the one where if they're female and only have one X chromosome that she was talking about. This one's fatal. They're all low risk.
Okay, good. What is this? RHD.
This is my blood. Remember
the problem with
I have to get the Rogam shot. We already know about that. Let's come down here. Is there more? How would explain like what happens if our blood mixes? Okay, Babe, this was.
We're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Low risk across the board, and we didn't find out the sex, so we can still do our gender reveal.
Well, right here.
Yeah, it would have put it right here, but I clicked not
then
to.
how do you report it to?
I'll call my doctor and they'll give it to me in an envelope.
I would say contact your doctor about that, I guess. That's good.
Oh my gosh. That was a really stressful few days.
A week.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
By the way, it did. It came back in a week exactly, the results. Good, okay.
Okay, good.
I love you.
I love you.